Coming up on Network Africa, Gambians await the return of President Adama Barrow, who is expected to arrive into the country from Senegal today. Libyan forces say they have taken control of the Benghazi district after a month-long siege. And the IMF's Christine Lagarde makes a 2-day visit to the Central African Republic. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Temitope Fagbemi. The new Gambian president, Adama Barrow, is expected to return home today to assume power at 4 p.m. local time. Mr. Barrow was sworn in last week in Senegal as regional leaders were persuading his predecessor, Yahya Jammeh, to step aside. Diplomats have urged Mr. Barrow's swift return to avoid any power vacuum. Reports say Mr. Barrow will stay at his own residence while the State House is assessed for potential risk following Mr. Jammeh's departure into exile in Equatorial Guinea. Thousands of West African troops remain in the Gambia amid reports that rogue pro-Jammeh elements are embedded in the country's security forces. Mr. Barrow reportedly wants the ECOWAS troops to stay for 6 months. He will be accompanied back home by the United Nations envoy for West Africa, Mohammed Ibn Chambers, who has said the UN will help uphold security in the Gambia. East Libyan forces say they have taken complete control of a long-contested district in Benghazi after dozens of families and captives trapped by fighting left the area. They've confirmed the capture of Ganfouda district would mark a major gain for the Libyan National Army as it seeks to finish a military campaign against Islamist-led opponents that it has been waging war against for more than 2 years. An army spokesman, however, says that the army is yet to secure a separate area known as the 12 blocks, which lies between Ganfouda and Bosnab, another neighborhood recently taken by the LNA. 62 captives were freed from Ganfouda, as well as 30 families and 40 foreign workers. Benghazi has seen some of the worst violence in the conflict in Libya following the country's 2011 uprising. A Kenyan court has given striking doctors and nurses in the country a further 5 days to end the nationwide strike. This comes after union officials were threatened with jail had the strike not ended today. The medics have been demanding the government honor a 2013 deal to increase salaries. They have rejected a government offer of a 40% pay rise, saying that it fell short of the 2013 promises. About 5,000 medical staff in more than 2,000 public hospitals stopped working in the first week of December, and patients have been unable to get basic care. A U.S.-based non-governmental organization, Human Rights Watch, has voiced concern at President Donald Trump's agenda, including closing the door on refugees, curbs on women's health rights, and possibly using dark sites for detainees. Kenneth Roth, Executive Director of Human Rights Watch, called for the U.S. Congress to exercise oversight over the new administration and to stand up for the Constitution and international human rights laws.
It's as if Trump, is indifferent to the extraordinary suffering that many of these refugees have been through. Many of these people are fleeing ISIS or the ISIS equivalents around the world. But in order to score political points at home, Trump is closing a door on them. So that, is one particularly ugly aspect of what he's doing. So I'm very concerned that we will lose the U.S. voice as a defender of human rights around the world. We don't know that yet. It's still too early to say. But it's a big worry, given Trump's expressed admiration for strongmen and his appointment of a man as Secretary of State or his nomination of a man who has yet to show any interest in human rights. So, the U.S., despite its flaws, despite its inconsistencies, despite its hypocrisy, has been an important voice for civil society, for civic space in many countries. And I fear that governments are going to use the opportunity of Trump's arrival to crack down on dissent. That's why it's all the more important for other democratic governments to take a leadership position.
For African medical students enrolled at Cuba's Latin American School of Medicine in Havana are preparing to attend the 28th African Union Summit in Ethiopia. This year's summit focuses on youth, health and gender.
The summit, which takes place from January 22nd to 31st, with the participation of heads of state from 54 African Union member states, focuses on addressing the mandate of harnessing the demographic dividend through investment in youth. Brahima Sise from Mali, Marcus Makaza from Burundi, Abrasia Natabaga from Botswana, and Ariane Polsheri from Burkina Faso study medicine in Havana in the school set up in 1999 by late revolutionary leader Fidel Castro. The objective is to offer grants for foreign students from low-income backgrounds to study for free, with particular focus on students from Latin America and Africa. In spite of all the difficulties today on the African continent and the problems of political instability, the insertion of young people and terrorism, we really want to focus on the topics of health, education, gender, and sexuality. On the topic of health, we here in the Latin American Medical School want to take with us all the experience we've gained in this country, and we want to discuss why we can't have a healthy Africa by 2063. The African Union is committed to advancing a continental vision contained in the Agenda 2063 entitled The Africa We Want. According to the African Union website, the importance of this year's mandate rests on the fact that almost 2/3 of the population of West and Central Africa are under 24 years of age, with young people between 15 and 24 making up 60% of the unemployed, and with many of those who find work limited to the informal sector and low incomes. A gender pre-summit takes place January 22nd to 27th, focusing on the empowerment of youth, especially young girls, for leadership and civic participation, a topic Natabago is particularly interested to pursue.
When we want to be part of everything, we want everything to be like 50-50. We want to take part, want to be involved, be it politics, be it education, everything, want to be part of it. And basically what I would say is that they should speak more about including